Hey everyone, it's your boy RJ, and this is my review of Marvel Team Up number 79 from 1979. I'll have to apologize. I fell asleep with the air conditioner on last night, and now I have a bit of a cold. It's making me sound really weird. But before we get to that, here are a few more pictures of Jawbreakers, God King. Now, I'm not really sure what's going on with this picture, but I think this is Brooklyn. I recognize the apartment. I lived there for about 2 weeks back in, I'm going to say 2013. Now, this one's beautiful. I love to see Jawbreakers just hanging out on the shelf with other stuff. Let's see what we got here. This picture is really poor resolution. I'll see if I can read some of it. In the background, we got, what do we got? There's Ignited, okay, and Black, and The Pervert by Mags Visage. Okay, let's just skip over that one, and we'll go to the next one. I haven't seen this one yet. Now, okay, all right, guys. I know you think this is funny, but why? Why would you do that? Why would you put this beautiful book on this ugly, dirty 70s reject carpet? I don't know. I wouldn't even pick that book up anymore. Anyway, so you may have noticed that I'm not in my car. My car is actually being worked on. So I asked my buddy if I could borrow his car, and he said he had one condition. And his condition was that I couldn't eat anything in his car. And I said, what? That's like where I eat 90% of my meals. But then I saw his car, and this thing was filthy. I mean, there was dirt on top of the dirt. And I just said, no, I'm not borrowing your car. But it gave me some incentive to begin my new diet schedule. It's called the 2-year diet, where you don't get to eat or drink anything for the next 2 years. It's a fasting program. I never really heard about this before, but well, no, actually, I shouldn't say that. There was a guy in our platoon in the Marines, and he said that he hadn't eaten anything for 2 years, and of course, we all called shenanigans on that, but I kind of see where he's coming from now. Anyways, so the diet is working great. I've lost 35 pounds in the last 7 days, and my skin has this healthy white shade to it now. In fact, my legs are now classified as a type 2 white reflective surface, which just means that if you shine a light directly at them, you can see the reflection up to 2 miles away, which is great when I want to go for a jog in the middle of the night because, you know, I don't have to wear that silly little vest anymore. So let's get right into this. This is 1979 Marvel Team Up, SpiderMan and Red Sonja. Oh, we got Invasion of the Body Snatchers, classic sci-fi movie right there. You know, I think the guy at my local comic shop puts old stuff he thinks I'll like on the corner of the counter on the days he knows that I'll be there, because this is the third time I went in on New Comic Day, and there was a book like this just sitting there. I knew I never read it before, so I picked it up, but I really didn't look at it until I got to my car. And when I saw the cover, I said, that's John Byrne. And then I opened it up and saw this. Not only is it John Byrne doing the art, but it's Chris Claremont and John Byrne doing the story. So as soon as I saw that, I knew I'm going to do a video on this. First off, it's from 1979, so it's before both of them really got big. And it's interesting to me to see how they're both developing their style in those days. So it starts out with your generic Spider-Man story. He's swinging through New York, just thinking about how he's going to pay the bills, and headed over to the Daily Bugle. But you'll notice that even though there's this sort of generic introduction. You get a cool picture of Spider-Man on page 1, but on page 2, the story starts right up. It's a story about how Red Sonja gets to be in modern day New York. So there's a museum displaying the Hyborian age. How do you say that? I don't know. Hyborian? I don't know. It's the age of Conan. So there's a museum exhibit from the age of Conan. And they have on display an amulet of Kulangath, which is the main Red Sonja villain. And the moon shines in on it and something happens, like the stars align or something, and the museum guard gets possessed by Kulangath. And here's where things get interesting. Now, I know this is a visual medium, but there's some things you just can't put into words. So just listen to this part here from Chris Claremont. Slowly mouthing words in a language unheard on the earth for over 9,000 years, he reached for the amulet, blood from his glass-cut hands staining the heavy gold chain. And deep within him, unheard, his soul screams. Come on! I mean, come on! That's how you set up a story. But then you get right back into the Spider-Man story, and you get a little Marvel DC rivalry with Clark Kent lookalike there at the Daily Bugle. And then you get J. Jonah Jameson doing his dad jokes, saying, "Season's greetings, my boy. I trust you received your Christmas bonus." And Peter says, "Sure did, Jonah, and I'm overwhelmed. A fella can always use an extra $10. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Then there's the call that comes into the newsroom, which is what happens in a newsroom, and Peter and another guy have to run to cover the story. And Claremont has to find a way to put Mary Jane into this story, because Mary Jane, well, she becomes the avatar for Red Sonja. So Peter takes off, and Mary Jane hides in the back of the car because she's sick of always being left behind by Peter. Now, imagine if this happened in a comic today. Your SJWs would be like, "Take that, Jan Salz," because Mary Jane is like a strong, independent woman, and she should be like the superhero or whatever, because feminism? Not realizing, of course, that this part of the story was from 1979. So, here's where we see the early rough style of John Byrne. This page annoys the hell out of me. I get what he's going for, but things are on too much of an angle here. I would straighten this up here and take these panels out, and then take these people and make the foreground bigger in this section of the page, and then put their dialogue up here in the corner. That's what he should have done. All right. So, we got Farrah Fawcett. And did anyone else have these toys when they were a kid? I can remember having these Shogun Warrior toys. Anyway, so we have an introduction of these generic monsters / henchmen for Kulangath, and there's nothing spectacular about them, but their powers are easily explained, and they have this energy draining power, and they pose a credible threat to Spider-Man. Then Mary Jane picks up the sword of Red Sonja, and she becomes, bam! She turns right into Red Sonja. Now that's what I'm talking about. Right? So, then we get Red Sonja. And just drink in this page for 1 second here. All right? Now, this is a stunningly beautiful, very curvy woman. This is not your approved body type woman that you would get in comics today. And you see how much care John Byrne is given to even the small parts of the chainmail here, and this part that's tied to her leg here. I mean, by the way, I've never understood what that was for, but do you see how it pulls in the back of her thigh? And just little details like that. And then you have the classic John Byrne way of framing a picture. Up here, you got the architecture, which is framing a picture. You got Spider-Man fighting for his life down here. And in the background, you have Cool and Goth, which is a callback to the front cover. Okay, so, yeah. So, they fight, and we'll have to skip a few pages for the 1979 copyright gods. You get this good fight scene with Spider-Man showing off his powers in a confined space. And both Goth and Sonja, they finally realize they're not in the Hyborian age anymore when the fight spills out into the street. And then you get Spider-Man being a hero, because he manages to get the amulet so that Sonja doesn't kill the guard that Goth has possessed. And here at the end, you get to see Peter resisting the amulet's call. It's calling out to him. He's resisting its evil. But I gotta say, I laughed at this part because he gets rid of the amulet by chucking it out into the waters off of New York City. I mean, what? Like, no one's ever going to draw that evil back up out of the waters, out of, what? Just off of New York City? But I got to admit, it's not too complicated. It ties up the story well, and it leaves room for another story just like it in the future. So, yeah, if you can find a copy of this book, you should get it. It's a good example of a standalone story told in, like 26 pages. It's rough around the edges, but it's everything a comic should be. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. I can't even talk. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for everyone who's given to the GoFundMe and the Indiegogo. You're funding an original content and an original lawsuit. Links are in the description. Oh, and on the lawsuit against Richard C. Meyer for stealing my whole, shtick about how to do a comic review, we didn't know if we could go ahead and move forward with the lawsuit, but technically, we did start it because, I should back up for a second. So, we didn't know if we could start a lawsuit because technically he did start his YouTube channel about 1.5 years before mine, but we're having the case heard in Texas. And there's a law in Texas called the Law of Equivalence. It states something about Texas, has to do with the size of Texas and how long it takes things to get out of Texas. So it states that no one in Texas can have an original thought before someone else in the rest of the country. And it's something to do with the size of Texas. And, I'm not really sure. They have this formula that they work it out on. It's the size of Texas plus the speed of thought times how much a hen weighs in an absolute vacuum. I'm not sure I understand it all, but the lawyers are doing their thing with the thing and the thing, and we're moving forward. Plus, an update on the ultra super duper secret project 42 Bravo. The story's been sent to the editor, a guy named Ryan Niemeyer, and as soon as he gets it back to me, I'll be starting publication. I'm going to say July, August, just in time for summer. So, thanks for watching. Bye.